Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Taquela Jackson, and today I will be discussing or presenting to you my senior thesis. Currently, I am a senior at Youngstown State University, and for my senior project, I summarized 10 different literature reviews and came up with a hypothesis. My hypothesis wanted to test how African American women have experienced inequalities and why is it though that they have experienced a great deal to achieve goals. My paper is titled "The Disproportions Among African American Women Fighting Odds." And if these individuals work hard, barriers can and will be overcome. When I was a little girl, I would always dream that one day I would walk across a stage with thousands of people applauding and also just being so proud of me. I never was really able to identify what day that was until now. This journey has become very challenging. Yes, it has indeed. But I've always kept my head above water, and I put my foot first on the ground and just decided that I can overcome all obstacles. No matter what type of inequalities you face, you can too achieve any goals if you put your mind to it. But the journey is not easy, and it hasn't been easy. It's very challenging, like I mentioned. But the only good thing about it is it has prepared me for the world, and it has in fact made me very proud to be who I am today. There is a term called a double whammy, which consists of two negative circumstances. So, to break this down for you, to be a woman is already one negative standard, but to be a black woman is considered to be a dual negative standard. So, this negative connotation was always in my mind, but at the back burner. I never really let it get to me. I always knew that if I work really hard and have self-discipline, that I can achieve any type of goal that I set for myself. The odds of a black woman finishing school is very slim to none. I was really tired of my just over broke, this is what I call a job, that I have been currently working for. And I told myself, and I battled with myself, and I said, enough is enough. I will this day decide to further my education. So in 2007, I made the first step towards the beginning of my future, which was to accomplish my GED, in which I did so in 2007. Let me give you a brief look into my senior thesis. My senior thesis wanted to test how does racism, workplace discrimination, as well as poverty hinder African American women from reaching their full potential compared to other races as well as genders. Now let's take a look at the three variables that I will be testing within my presentation. These are some of the inequalities that African American women have faced. Racism is just one component, workplace discrimination in the field, as well as poverty. These three components all are reasons why African American women have a greater time accomplishing their goals. Now that I have gave you a brief preview of what's to come, let us now go into my first topic, which is racism. According to Harness' 2010 study titled Race, Gender, and the Black Woman's Standpoint, within this study they wanted to find out, do all black women indeed have the same type of connotation about themselves? Within the study, it was assumed that every single black woman agreed that they have came from oppression and have struggled with different types of adversities. Harness' study found that when black women in particular have experienced racism as early as the 1960s. Within the 1960s, this was a very pertinent time in history because there were two important movements. There was the Black Women's Movement as well as the Civil Rights Movement. Within this time, the study found that black women experienced the greatest amount of oppression and racism. Harness also found that not only do black women experience racism, they also face sexism and are socially divided into different classes depending upon status, according to Harness 2010 study. Research also suggested by Harness 2010 study found that no other race has endured adversity like the black women, and they are known to be marginalized in many demographics, for instance, race, class, and gender. According to Gillen's 1996 study titled Race and Poverty in America, Public Misperceptions in the American News Media, within this study, Gillen's found that the media had its own wrong or falsely accused misrepresentation of the current number of African Americans who were currently at the poverty level. The studies found that negativity makes reality very harsher for African American women to achieve their goals or aspirations. Now that we have briefly discussed how racism affects black African American women, let us now go into how workplace discrimination also hinders the success. So, in fact, 2008 Cobba's study titled Race, Gender, and Progress, Are Black American Women the New Model Minority? Within this study, Cobba wanted to find out who, in fact, is the inferior race. So, research proved that African American women have, for decades, been well thought out to be the inferior race, and one of the top minorities to experience severe forms of discrimination. Within this study, he wanted to compare and contrast more so whether if Asian Americans or African Americans, which one of the two experienced the greatest form of oppression. Within the study, Cobba found that African American women are more likely or more susceptible to severe forms of oppression and discrimination. Ortiz and Roxino's 2009 study titled Discrimination, Women in Work, Process and Variation by Race and Class study found that white American women are more likely to be discriminated against in terms of being promoted, whereas black women are more likely to be discriminated in terms of just in general, meaning that the study suggested that African American women are wrongly accused of being insubordinate, being lazy, being ignorant, and several other negative connotations, which also prevents them from the same conducive situations as others. Within this study, they found that African American women experience greater forms of workplace discrimination in the workplace. Ortiz and Roxinos also found within their study that African American women who are living in poverty are a result of the discriminatory actions in the workplace. Furtherall and Eagly's 2011 study titled Do Young Women Expect Gender Equality in Their Future Lives? An answer from a positive self-experience. Within this study, they wanted to find out, do young adults, or they tested college students, and they wanted to know who are more susceptible to want to sacrifice their lives to give their significant others the opportunity to succeed in life. So their research found that it was more likely for a woman to more so want to stay at home and let the males go out and work. But they also found that the glass ceiling also prevents African American women from being able to be compensated equally. So the women had to sacrifice. Did they want to either work and be paid lower, or would they rather let their husbands or significant others work while they stayed at home and cared for their children? Because they will be paid less. Because the glass ceiling actually prevents women from being paid or being compensated what they should be entitled to. Now that we have discussed workplace discrimination, let us now tour how poverty also prevents African American women from reaching their full potential. According to Conley's 2011 study titled Decomposing the Black-White Wage Gap, the Role of Parental Resources, Inheritance, and Investments, dynamics. They wanted to find out, this was more of a compare and contrast. They wanted to know why were white Americans more likely to have investments, inheritance, and assets, and why black women were less likely to have any type of assets, inheritance, or investments. Within the study, Conley's research found that slavery prevented African American women from owning any property or even their own bodies. This was a taboo. They were not allowed to even own any rights to themselves. Many whites have passed assets down through several generations, while blacks were waiting on unkept promises during slavery. Conley's 2011 research also found that African American women are not financially able to save money due to absentee parents, and African American women's households being more matriarchal. CAVA's 2008 study also found that African American women do not have the dual income due to absentee parents or parents being incarcerated. Conley's 2011 study found that all of these setbacks are actually due to the inequalities and the experiences due to slavery. Now that I have gave you a brief look into how racism, discrimination, and poverty all have hindered or prevented African Americans from being successful, I'd now like to recap what I explained to you. My thesis, which explains how these three factors, racism, discrimination, and poverty, are all factors that alleviates African American women from reaching their full aspirations. I just wanted to reiterate that I have to experience these three main problems, or the three variables that I have tested, but I am an example that if you put your goals ahead of any equalities or any type of adversities, you too can and will go far in life. I actually will be the first person in my family to have ever achieved a degree higher than a high school diploma. I am proud to say that my aspirations and my goals have led me to this point today. I'm currently a senior at Youngstown State University, and this journey has been challenging, but it's well worth the great deal. I'm so proud to say to you today that no matter what type of inequalities or adversities or disproportions that you experience as a minority, you too can and will go far in life. I thank you for the opportunity to be able to present my presentation to you today. I hope that I have enlightened you, and I just wanted to reiterate that the facts according to fastfacts.com, 2009 and 2010, blacks' percentage rate from graduation was 10.9%. Of those percentage, 65% of those 10% were black women. Thank you.